I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us today. We're very, very excited to have you. And I didn't realize until just 2 seconds ago, you and Jess have never met because I feel like you're both so ingrained in my life that you should just be friends automatically.
No, I feel like I know you because I've also heard so much about you from Jen and listened to hours of you on this podcast, but no, we haven't met. Thank
Yes,
you for
but
having me
now we
again.
will be friends moving forward.
Please. I'm always in the market for friends.
I'm trying to get Jess to come back over this fall for a good long visit.
Oh, please do. Yeah, in the fall it will be nice. We were saying
Yes.
that the summer
Yeah.
is horrible, but in the fall it will be lovely.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
say we
trying
weren't
to
selling it too much with our heat conversation before we started recording.
No, but
listen, we've
I
got our
tell people,
yeah, we've got our own heat over here, so it's not like I'm, switching anything out for my day to day if I were to, I know the humidity, right?
yeah, no, and but you have wind. No, you have wind as well, and also you're set up a bit like you're set up for outdoor living a bit more. Like everyone, it's part of the culture. Whereas I don't know, maybe
Yes.
just me because I like to live like a Victorian lady, but as a result, I'm constantly inside, and it's not nice inside.
Yeah, I think that's the positive here is that we do have, we were just talking about all the AC troubles or lack of in
It's
London.
horrible.
Here we actually have the proper
I was just gonna
central
say,
air.
you look very refreshed in your AC right now.
This is just a fan. This is just blowing me. Then this honestly just for vanity. This isn't even doing anything for the heat. It's just giving me a nice blow of my hair.
It's a
Got your
good Beyonce moment.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. What are you drinking today, Charlotte?
Okay, so I have a confession to make
Okay.
because I don't really drink, and haven't really brought that up before because I think it makes me sound lame. But I especially don't drink because when I do drink, I regret pretty much everything that I say, and I thought on a podcast that would be particularly bad. So I am drinking. I sent my boyfriend to the shop because I was like, I need something fancy. Please go and select me anything, and he selected me this. It's a pomegranate and lime presse. But I tasted it. It's disgusting. So that's what I'm drinking, but it's not any good. I
Oh
should have
gosh.
gone with alcohol.
Oh, Rory. No.
No, it looks really fancy, and I'm sure for most people it would be really good. But I have a very sweet tooth, so essentially,
Mm.
if it's not a drink for a child, I'm gonna think it's not good.
Yeah. Well,
That's
to be
fair.
fair, I remember you were kind enough to have me over for dinner a few times, and I think the very first time I brought a bottle of wine and you're like, "Oh, I don't really drink that much." And I was like, "Oh no, can we be friends?" But then
I
we weren't.
know. Yeah, yeah, no, but it is for real. I'm always so conscious of it. I'm like, I must try really hard to be fun, try really hard to make up for it.
Oh,
It
that's
just, I
funny.
do remember you saying that now. It's not like hit me since then, but yeah.
No, sorry.
Nice. Jess, what are you drinking?
I went for a G&T with a little bit of elderflower tonic water. Are you drinking a
I
G&T
have the
too?
same. Yes, in a coffee mug because like I was saying, I'm packing my house up right now and I have no dishes left. So I pulled this out of the box because I was like, oh, I have nothing to put it in. Yeah,
Beautiful.
G&T. Very
Yes.
Londony.
Unfortunately, I'm drinking my G&T at 11 a.m., so that's delightful.
Unfortunately or fortunately.
We'll see. We'll see when this is over.
You'll get that slump in the afternoon. You'll get a hangover in the afternoon.
Uh,
Or you
well,
just
I'm
have to
not
carry
going
on
too hard.
drinking,
Right.
I'm told.
We'll see how this goes.
Oh man, this
Oh.
is so great. I'm so excited to dive in because I don't actually know how you got into acting. So would you share with us like how you like decided you wanted to become an actress and kind of like your journey through that?
Yes, I have a bit of, I think mine's weird. Or sometimes when I tell it and I think it sounds normal, and then people are like, that's a weird journey. I I always loved acting. I always thought it was the coolest thing ever, but I kind of thought that everyone must think it was the coolest thing ever and that I would still have to get a regular job. And also when I was a child, I was like I was very academic. I wasn't super smart, but I really worked really hard. When I'd set my mind something, I was really good at working hard at it. So as a result, it didn't even like occur to me to go to drama. I didn't know what a drama school was. And also, I will say, no one ever told me to do it. No one was ever like, you're great, you should go after that. I just always loved it, that's the unusual thing. Most people, I think, had someone that was like, you should do this as a living. I was just like, I want to do this because it's great. But truthfully, that actually gave me a huge amount of agency. Like I've always felt like this is something that I do because I love it and I want to go after it, and it's not because anyone told me to. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a result, I just went to like regular uni, and I studied French and Spanish. And when I was there, I did a ton of plays. And then weirdly, that's the weird bit. Actually, maybe the story isn't so weird. I'm going to stop second guessing myself. when I was at uni doing a ton of plays, thinking this was the best thing ever, a casting director, an amazing Scottish casting director called Des Hamilton, came to Oxford, which is where I was at uni, and he was looking for a young Jane Birkin for this French film he was casting called Serge Gainsbourg Vie Héroïque. And Des Hamilton was all about street casting, so he specifically didn't want people who were actors. And so I pretended that I actually didn't love acting at all, and I was just here at university doing my French and Spanish degree. And I met him, and then I went to London to do an audition, and to this day, it's still the best audition I've ever done. It really went really downhill from there. But after that, I was like, oh, maybe because the only thing I'd heard about acting is that it was impossible, and like you never made any money and everyone was miserable and destitute. And then I did this audition and it went quite well. And so then I was like, oh, maybe I could do this for real. And so then I went to drama school in Paris, a place called Jacques Lecoq, in my year out from uni. And I just wrote to I went online, I found all of the young actresses that I liked and I looked them up, who their agents were, and then I wrote to all of their agents and I managed to get someone to come to see one of my like terrible uni plays, and everyone said no except for one person, and then eventually she signed me, and then it all kind of started going like that. That's a very long-winded story and probably not that weird, but that's how it happened.
Can I ask what are any of your family members in the arts in any way, or are you sort of like stepped out of the mold?
Yes, yeah. So no one, none of my family are in the arts. I didn't know anyone in the arts growing up. Like I didn't even know any actors. I never saw it being a viable profession. I just knew it was something that I really loved to do.
What was your hope to do before you went in that direction? Like you were studying French and Spanish, right?
Spanish.
So yeah. So what were your plans at that stage? And then how did your family receive the news that you were shifting gears into the arts?
So I think I probably thought I'd be in the Foreign Office, like something to do with that. But I honestly hadn't thought it that far through. I decided I wanted to go to Oxford when I was 13. And then I was like 100% focused on that until I got to Oxford. And then once I was at Oxford, I got that acting bug, I think, quite quickly. And so then once that started materializing for me, then I was 100% focused on kind of acting as my only thing. And my parents were incredibly supportive. Like I think they were, I kind of ticked the academic bit, so they were a little bit off. I think there was I got my degree. I had done the thing to be safe, so they weren't completely worried.
So you could fall back on it if you had to.
Yeah.
Still might. But no, I think they were really, really supportive and really have always been super supportive. Whenever people ask me about like relationships with parents, I will always say, I think this job is really, really hard on parents.
Yeah.
When like, I think to have a child, the financial instability, the emotional toll it takes even on the parents, I think it's a tough ask on parents. I think if you said to my mum, would you prefer your daughter had gone into a different profession? She would probably say yes.
I think all of our parents would say that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like super proud, super supportive, but it's not their dream. It's definitely my dream.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, and I apologize. Maybe I missed it. Did you get that Des Hamilton job?
No. But
it was just the best audition you ever did.
Yeah. No, it was just the audition process was. I guess it had seemed. acting had always seemed so far removed and impossible that even going into an audition and a casting director being like, I think you're great, I was like, or I can't remember, like, what he did, maybe not that, but like, he was, I'm at the end of the audition, he was like, I think you're going to get the job. Off you go to Paris to meet the director. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, maybe this isn't an impossible feat. Maybe I could do it. I went to Paris, I met the director. It was not good. I didn't get the job. But it just gave me like a tiny bit of confidence.
Yeah. I feel like that's so like indicative of the industry though, where it's like you almost feel like you're like, oh my gosh, like this is great. This is amazing. And then you don't work for a year. Or there's like it's such a roller coaster, or you go into your next audition and you're like, oh, that wasn't that great. Like how can I like replicate that? And it's like it can be really like mentally draining. So because you've been in it for a good chunk now. And you have amazing credits and you've done some amazing work, but like, I know it can't always be that way. So like, how do you get into that whole, like, not letting it affect you, or, I mean, letting it affect you, but, moving forward and not giving up on it pretty much,
So many thoughts on this. so much to say. Okay. So yeah. So I think I'm pretty good respecting disappointment, because for me it's not, people always say like, oh, the acting industry is so full of rejection, that must be so hard. For me, the rejection bit actually was never hard. That makes it, I never take it personally, like I know how impossible it is to get a job. I know the odds are always against you, like even when you're kind of like right down to the last, like when you're the last three, that is so close, you're so close to the job, the odds are still 1 in 3, which is bad. Those are bad odds. If you got like a gun to your head and it was 1 in 3, I'd be like, I don't want to take those odds, but we're always like 1 in 3. Anyway, so it's not that the rejection bit, I don't make it mean anything about me essentially, but it's more about the disappointment. And the thing I've done recently is just be like, my mantra in general is like, can I handle it? Can I handle it financially? Can I carry on if I'm not working and it's like 6 months or a year where I'm not going to have a job? Can I handle it financially? Can I handle it emotionally? If in the next 6 months and a year, all I have to handle is disappointment and getting close and not getting it, getting close and not getting it, if that's all it is, can I handle it? And if the answer is no, then that's the time to be like, maybe it's time to think about something else. But if the answer is yes, then I've invited the disappointment and I don't resent it. I'm like, because I said I could handle it. I decided I could handle it. So I didn't get the job and I'm going to feel really sad and I'm going to mourn it. But I know that I chose it, if that makes.
Yeah.
Because I think I was listening, even that podcast you did with Jenny Jew, and I was listening to her talk and she was talking about whenever she misses out on a job, something else comes along that is like different, but better, or different and exciting in a different way. And truthfully, that hasn't been my experience of the industry. There have been times where I've missed out on a big job and I have then spent the next 6 months not working. And that I have to be okay with that as well. Like, because I think if you're constantly waiting for the job to save you, then you're gonna be miserable. But if you can figure out a way to find like joy in your life when you're not working, and when I'm not working, like I get to go to class, I get to like get better at acting, I get to work on my craft, because when I'm filming it's like go 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 go. I'm mostly just trying to make days. When I'm away, I get to like figure out what's working and what's not working. And then I go, okay, so is that life that terrible just because I'm not working? Like, actually, on my day-to-day in the present, I get to like play, I get to like work on acting, I get to spend time with people who I love and I get to talk to them. So that's not so I can handle a bit of disappointment,
Yeah,
I think that's a very long-winded answer, so I apologize.
No. I think it's good to have that context, but I think it's like this industry, regardless of what side of the camera you're on, I think a lot of it is like mindset conditioning and having that like foundation for yourself of the can I handle it. I think it's also like the thing that I embrace for myself when I don't get something is like rejection is protection. Like, this wasn't meant for me because maybe it was saving me from a very toxic experience or whatever it is. Like, I think that's my coping mechanism of just like, well, what is it? What is the saying that like whatever is meant for you won't pass you
Won't
by?
pass you.
Yeah, so I feel like I got to lean into that a little bit.
Yeah, but I also like that. I also think it's tricky because yes, whatever's meant for you won't pass you, but also sometimes stuff will pass you, and it's just shit. But it's the way that it is, and there's no control that you have over that, and
Mm.
you just have to make peace with the fact that like the journey isn't linear, and the journey is going to be really sticky sometimes, and to find peace in the times when it's sticky as much in the times when it's like free flowing. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And I feel like even in our industry, there are those, I mean, it's rare, but like these moments where it could pass you and then come back to you in some weird way. And I've seen that happen quite a few times. And it's like, oh, sometimes actors just like move on from it. And they're like, I just let that go. I don't want to do it. And then it just like magically comes back in some reiteration or some way, you know?
No, and even like, so I don't want to be too doom and gloomy. I'm not just being like, sometimes you just got to accept that it's shit and that's okay.
No,
Like,
it's not coming out that way.
no, because you also don't know the like the timing of it all. I remember I auditioned for like a TV show. I auditioned for the TV show that was a pre like the White Queen, which was one of the early ones of the White Princess. And I
Yeah.
didn't get the job, and I was so devastated about not getting that job. And then afterwards, like, and it wasn't like I then immediately got a different job that was particularly great. And so I really mourned that. I was like, God, my career would have been different if I got that role, whatever stories I told myself. And Spanish Princess didn't come along for like 3 or 4 years after that. And that was like in my life has been one of the most amazing jobs I've done, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience that. And I would never have got to experience that if I had got the White Queen job. And I wouldn't, but I also, well, that's the end of the story. I think I've run out of juice. I guess the point is that you don't know the way it works linearly. That's not a word.
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
how it's gonna work out, and it's that thing of like, what's that? I was listening to a Rufus Sewell's on a podcast, and he does this really great quote where he says, "Work begets work, but not on your schedule." And I think it's like hard work. Also, it does pay off in the long term, just maybe not when you expect it to, but it's still worth putting in that work.
Yeah, we always say this industry is a long game. I mean, it's not,
Exactly.
we never understand the actors who come in and are like, I want it now. Or they sit across from
Yeah.
us in a general and is like, what can you help me to do, like to get a job
Yes.
tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if I have anything for you right now, but maybe in a couple years or something, when something's right and it crosses my desk, I will of course pass you along for it or whatnot. So
Have you ever lived in LA? Because you're dual citizen, right? Or
No,
no, I
no,
lied.
no, no.
Just
I
kidding.
wish. Yeah, no, I am. For anyone who wants to hire me, I've got a dual citizenship.
wink, wink.
Exactly. I wish.
Disregard.
I would love one of those passports. I would love it so much, but no. But no, I lived in LA. We lived in LA over COVID, actually, weirdly, because
Oh,
Rory was on morning show, and so we were there for about 9 months, and I loved it. We had a magical time. I think because it was COVID, everything was there was no scene essentially,
yeah.
so I didn't feel any obligation to be or I didn't feel left. I guess I didn't feel any obligation to show up on a scene that I was intimidated by, but I also then did never feel left out that I wasn't a part of a scene that I was seeing happening around me because everyone was in their homes. So it was, yeah, it was lovely. I loved it.
That's the only way to do LA is when nobody's out in the world.
When no one's there. Yeah. Like there were no traffic jams. We just like hop in the car and go for a drive.
You literally were living the like dream life of LA.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. I had a really good time. Particularly because it was lockdown in London, so everyone was in like the deepest, darkest,
Yeah.
like the kind of, yeah, it was awful. So I felt very smug.
I was going to ask if like what the audition experience is between LA and UK for you, but you didn't have the conventional time in LA, so never mind.
No, but I've done it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the thing that I always found kind of intimidating. I'm a very chatty person. I love to chat, and I usually have lots of like things I want to say about the character, which is sometimes I need to rein myself in a bit. But in the UK, they love that stuff. You can sit and talk for a while, and that always kind of like puts me at ease. Whereas in LA, the coming in and going boom, as I've always struggled with. I just always found that kind of quite difficult. That's over now because everyone does self tapes.
I know, I was gonna say, is there any difference that you're seeing in the self-tape universe between the States and the UK? Or is it pretty uniform across the board?
Yeah, I mean, it's got like in the back in the pre the strikes, you would get way more pages in LA than you would in the UK, but that is kind of a bit better now. But yeah, no, I've never. I mean, I find them they're very different skill sets. Like the type of acting that I kind of do in American stuff is usually quite different to what I'm looking for in kind of British stuff, just tonally often. Even just like the last, so I mean, I've been really trying to work on like making my acting more reactive and less self-generated. And in America, the American stuff really lends itself really well to that. And so like a lot of the studying that I've been doing during this kind of time has been about like in Meisner and kind of all of that stuff, try to make the acting as alive as possible, because in a self-tape that's so difficult. So yeah, I mean, I really like auditioning in America because that is the kind of acting that I'm interested in, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I want to go back a little bit because you were in Game of Thrones, and I'm very excited
Yes.
because you're the first person on the podcast that we've had that's been in Game of Thrones that I believe, right, Jess? There hasn't been anybody else.
Nope.
Yeah, I love it. Put you on the spot. No. How was that experience? Just tell us, what was it like being a part of like that massive of a show?
It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. Like before I got Game of Thrones, my career was a pretty slow start. Like I did pretty much every hospital and crime procedural that existed in the UK, which was great, really, really great. But I got to a stage where I thought that it was probably not going to happen to me in the big capacity. I just always playing kind of someone's crying daughter. And then the Game of Thrones audition came through. Actually, it was around the time. Hang on, maybe my timelines are wrong there. But the Game of Thrones audition came through, and it was for one scene in one episode, and it was full frontal nudity from the front and behind. And my agent at the time said, "Don't do that." And I said, "I don't need to work. I don't mind." To be fair, I also because I come from French physical kind of theatre world. I have no shame about my body, and I really like using it as an instrument. So that didn't perturb me at all. And I went and it was one day, this like really intense scene with Alfie and Iwan, who were absolute heaven. And I did this one scene and I had the best day. It was like the coolest thing ever. And then I went home and I thought that was it. And then the next season they brought me back for a bit more. And then by season 5, they wrote me a proper storyline. But it was really, I mean, that job, I guess it's partly everyone knew that they were making something that everyone really liked, but I was in like season 3, 4, and 5, so it was already a really successful show. So everyone went to work and was just so happy to be there all the time, and it was magical. We shot like one scene in the morning and one scene in the afternoon. It was we were never rushing the schedule. Like every other job I have done, have been stressed about constantly making days, and Game of Thrones was never I never felt that stress anyway. It was like summer camp. It was honestly, I took so much of my life feeling like acting was this far off thing that I desperately wanted to do, but I was never quite there, or like, and then finally when I got Game of Thrones, I felt like I was like invited to the party for the first time, and it was a like really excellent party.
That's amazing. Did you feel like the level of fandom? Like, did you experience that in your journey of it? Or because it's like, I just remember when, I don't know, 2013, 14, something like that, all of the actors were in LA because they were doing Comic-Con. It was the summer of Comic-Con. And like the stuff, we were doing general meetings because we were working on a specific film. And like Richard Madden and Kit Harington, Amelia Clark, they all came in for this project, and they like the stuff that they would talk about their experiences of the fandom was just like the wildest thing that you'd ever hear.
Yeah, I had a tiny part. So
No,
my
but still,
experiences are much less
but I,
wild.
yes, but like you still had like your storyline was, I mean, with Alfie and like those things, that was a huge storyline in itself, I thought, and
You're
as a
not very
viewer.
kind.
You're in
Thank
it
you
more
for
than you think,
appreciating.
Charlotte.
Yes.
No, but yeah, I mean, just I was certainly never on any of that kind of level. And actually, like when we were because we filmed in Belfast for most of my bits, and it really felt like it really felt like a little family. Like even kind of when we would be out in Belfast, like everyone really took care of each other and really protected each other. It really felt like everyone was kind of like brothers and sisters, and I mean, not all the time, obviously, but like it was just. But it was a very like David and Dan are amazing. Who the showrunners are amazing, and they even like they would invite me to dinners and stuff. I felt so much a part of it, despite the fact that I was a really small part. It was there was no ego or kind of like hierarchy or status. It really felt, and that doesn't happen all the time. Once if you're coming in season 3, 4, 5, like often you've just got people who are like bored of being there and acting. I don't know what, but sometimes I've heard, and there was like none of it. Everyone was just such like team players. So yeah, it was very nice.
It's great.
I love that. It was funny because I'm gonna tell a little side story here because literally last week, Wednesday, I met a friend of mine right in Soho for a drink before we were going to this event. And I didn't realize we were at the stage door of where Kit Harington is doing slave play right now.
Oh, sure.
And so we're sitting there and then you just feel like this energy shift. And we were sitting on the patio and somebody actually yelled out, "There's the King of the North." I was like, what? My friend started laughing because she's in casting too. I was like, what are they talking about? She's like, Kit Harington's walking right behind you. I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing is that to walk around London?
Sorry, I'm just plugging my thing in. But I plugged my thing in. But I do actually find people. Oh, there we go. People in London, I think are quite. You get like I've got nothing.
No, they're usually pretty cool. Like, I mean, because I will say, like, I used to live in the same area near him in generally, and I think I had seen him and a couple other, like, I would call them quite famous people, and they can go about their day and go to the shops and stuff like that. But I guess maybe when you're in the theater district in prime tourist season and you're that recognizable, you're just like, I just was like kind of cringing inside for him. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm not going to turn around. I refuse. I'm not going to be that person.
I guess also though, because House of the Dragon is on, I think it's more in people's psyche again. That everyone's kind of like on the lookout.
Yeah.
Did they announce that he's doing another like
spin-off?
Yeah,
they did, right? Yeah, there's a Jon Snow prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. I was also always trying to figure out, I was like, in any of these prequels, could my character come back to where she had been before? I'm like, is there anything? I'd love to be on that show again.
You could be reincarnated as some
as a White Walker, exactly. I'm like, literally, I'm there. Sign me up.
Oh my gosh. So oh my gosh. And then after that was Spanish Princess then, right? Am I getting my lines right?
Yeah. No, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to try and replug my thing in. Yeah. So actually, though, weirdly, at the time, I didn't, because everyone to me was like, oh, Game of Thrones must have been your like break or whatever. And at the time, I really didn't feel like it was at all because I got like, dropped by UTA afterwards, and my auditions never changed or anything. And I was just like, oh God, like maybe I was terrible in it, or whatever, all those things that you start putting through your head. Which actually guess it takes me back to my point from before about like, it's never on your schedule, is that I thought that I would do Game of Thrones and then suddenly there would be an uptick and I would be auditioning for the kind of project that my friends had always been auditioning for and I'd always wanted to, but hadn't had the auditions. But I thought everything was going to change and it didn't. And then actually what it took was I got dropped by UTA. I went out to LA on just like a kind of a general trip. And when I was out there, I signed with my managers. And I was like, it's too early for me to do an agent. I'd rather wait and get some practice under my belt before I do the whole agency thing again. Because UTA, I had I signed with a really amazing agent, and then she'd left, and I got handed on to 3 other agents who I just didn't know at all, and they didn't know me, to the extent that I think when they dropped me on the call, there were like 3 people on the call, and I didn't know who was who. So I was like, I've never spoken to these people. I don't know.
Horrible.
So yeah, but then I ended up actually signing with CAA because I met someone there and we really got on. And as a result of that, I then got this indie movie that it was called Three Christs. It was a Richard Gere and Bradley Whitford and Walton Goggins and Peter Dinklage and Juliana Margulies and me. I was really like, this is my time. So I went off to New York. Unfortunately, that movie didn't turn out to be a global success or really any success in any capacity, which was sad. The movie. But as a result of that, because I was in New York, I met Scott Elliott, who was directing Very Child, that was going to be in the West End with Ed. And I think because I was in New York doing this movie, which like sounded very impressive, and I had an amazing like creative experience on. As a result of that, I think that helped me get the play, and then play led to another play that I did at the Almeida, and then that led. Oh, and then I went back and did. So I'd done the play in London with Ed, and then they were doing another play in New York, same director, and with Ed as well. And so they asked me to do that. And then during that audition process, I auditioned for Spanish Princess. So it was kind of one of those ones. That time really felt like I was getting each job because of the previous one. It all kind of, do you know what I mean? Like it really felt like that was the momentum was carrying it one to the next. Not that there was any one that was. Rather than it being like Game of Thrones changed everything, but it probably was the kind of the Game of Thrones undercurrent. It's just I didn't feel it at the time because I was only reacting to what had come before and after, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you, just of like, coming from a show that was so expansive, like there's so many actors on Game of Thrones, and then obviously you're doing these more intimate plays and these indie films, then being like #1 on the call sheet for Spanish Princess, like what was that experience like for you, just in terms of like the responsibilities and, how did that shift for you in your brain?
Yes, it's interesting because I do really think that leading and supporting in any capacity are 2 really, really different jobs. Because when you're leading, you have to do your best acting, but you also are kind of a member of the crew. You're also there to like be really resilient and to be able to kind of like, even when you're really tired on your sixth day and no one's had any sleep and you've got 20 minutes until you wrap and you need to catch this shot because the sun's setting and you need to be able to go boom, 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 boom. You have to be able to do, it's like a machine. You have to be a bit of a machine in that capacity. And also like, you have to not be a dick. Like you have to be someone that is going to be turning up to work every day with a smile on your face. And I mean, even more than not being a dick, I think you have to be a kind of a team. You have to be a cheerleader for everyone else. Like you're really setting the kind of tone of like how God, that maybe makes it sound like it's a more important job than it is. But I do think it kind of has that quality. Like I've done auditions with, in fact, even when I auditioned with a director for Catch Me a Killer, I had a Zoom with him, and he was like, I'm not interested in like, I've seen your work, like whatever. But he was like, I'm not really interested in talking about the character or anything. He was just like, I just want to know what you're like as a #1 to work with. And I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fair enough, because I could do the most brilliant audition ever, but if you and I don't like working together really intimately all day, every day, and we don't trust each other, then it doesn't matter what I can do, what I can make in my self-tape in my bedroom, because making films is really hard. Like, and everyone gets really tired, and you have to really want to be in it.
And I think I don't want you to diminish. It is a really important job to be in that position, because you are setting the tone for the rest of the cast and making sure that it feels like a safe environment to do the work, but also like that creative collaboration. If it's a toxic set from the bottom or from the top
Well,
down,
yeah,
like I'm sure you've had your own experiences in that position of like being part of an ensemble and it being a not great experience.
yeah,
So it's
totally.
hugely important.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and like truthfully, I really enjoy it. I don't
You're like, I like the power.
no, actually, you know what? Not the power at all. It's that what I love about it is because I'm a really what I'm really good at is working really hard. I actually don't think I'm like the best actor ever. I don't think I'm the smartest person ever, but I know that I'm really, really good at working hard. And so leading for me is kind of perfect because you got to be really good at working hard. Like I'm really good at the determination, and also like the really good thing about leading is that you get to go to work every day, and so you never get the opportunity to beat yourself up too much. Like in the supporting parts, you come in and you flourish and you do all your like brilliance, but then you have to go home and think about it and think about like all the things you could have done better and like fuck like oh god, and you got 3 days off then to just be thinking about what you could have been doing better. When you're leading, there's no time for that. It's like if you think that you were shit in the scene, doesn't matter, you got to carry on. And so you get really warm, like you as a muscle, like you know, acting's a muscle. The more you practice it, the better you get. I just get really, yeah, I get really warm. I really love it.
That's amazing. I not to take a left turn here, but I want to talk about, we started talking about before we started recording, but we were talking about representation and
Mm-hmm.
how important it is to, I mean, we talk about it throughout the last year and a half of like the fact that finding the perfect representation is much like dating and trying to find the right person to go on this
Totally.
journey with. And so it's what has that journey been for you, and what have you found to be over the years important qualities for your team, whether here in the US or in the UK?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question because I've also been on like a whole roller coaster ride of representation. Like I wish that I was one of those people that signed with their first agent and have been with them the whole way through, and they've got this like beautiful symbiotic relationship of trust and years of experience, and you know, but that unfortunately didn't happen for me. um, so I've actually like moved a lot, and I think that, well, not a lot, but like a fair amount. I think, especially I guess when I first signed with my first agent in the UK, and I was with them for maybe like 6 or 7 years, and I was a child. I was like so young when I started that essentially that whole relationship was really kind of formed on who I was when I was like 18, essentially. Like, well, maybe I was older than that, but like when I hadn't figured out who I really was as an actress. And so then when I was kind of later in my life, I was like, okay, so now it is like kind of dating. You're like, oh, I've kind of changed a bit, and so now I want to try something else. I will also say that I think, especially during when I was younger, I was one of those actresses that was constantly being like, oh God, my agent isn't working hard enough for me and I'm not getting that audition that she's getting. And if only I were with one of the big agents, maybe I would be doing better. And because I was at a kind of like a smaller kind of boutique agency, which is part of the reason I left. And actually, like, truthfully, that first agent worked really, really fucking hard for me. And because they were boutique, they were, I got really taken care of and kind of nurtured. And then when I left and I didn't get that, that was also kind of like a shock to the system because I've become very used to being like, have my hand held. And it's tricky because like sometimes there are times in the industry when you want your hand held a bit, and sometimes you don't need that. And like, you know, now the stage I'm at kind of is that I don't need my agents to yeah, hold my hand. I'm like, I'm a big girl now, and I'm like, I can handle that kind of stuff. Let's just like start on the business kind of side of it. But I've kind of veered between wanting to have my hand held and not wanting to have my hand held throughout my career, and then changed agents according to that. But yeah, I effectively, like, a lot of the times when I've moved, I've regretted it. You know, like, I don't think that there are any straightforward answers. In the same way that, like, you don't, when you're dating someone, like, you don't know how it's going to work out, and like what you're going to want and what they're going to want, and it's so much about chemistry.
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, where you're at when you're like, I don't know.
I think it's a little bit, it's definitely like you are evolving as a person and you're becoming who you are. But I also think it's like as the landscape of the industry changes and figuring out what that's going to look like and how that affects what your place in it is. I think that combination is like incredibly important when you are working with somebody. And I think that understanding of like not necessarily putting not your eggs in one basket, but like not necessarily putting all the pressure on the agents of like finding ways to balance that with, this is what I do in order to help my opportunities while my agent and manager are doing this to help my opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah, no, totally. And also I think to have that kind of like separation, where I think at the beginning of my career, I really put a lot of expectation that having a good agent was going to be the only thing that was going to send my career in the direction I wanted it to. And actually, truthfully, my career's down to me. Like, I'm probably going to get the jobs I'm going to get. Like, if you guys read something and you were like, oh my God, Charlotte will be perfect for this. If you then looked me up and you were like, oh, she's not with that agent, she's with a different agent, so now I'm not going to audition for it. It just wouldn't really happen. Like, no, is that true? Oh no.
Only if your agent
is scared.
No, I said only if your agent is an asshole. Then it might affect it that we're like, oh no, she's with them.
Does that really? Does it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is why I tell people, I was like, before you sign with anybody, come talk to me. Because like, even I have two kind of like stories that relate to this. One, a friend of mine over here in the UK who has US representation, when they first told me who they were signed with, I think I don't hide my emotions well on my face. And he was like, oh, that's not good. And I was like, what? No, but like, again, it kind of depends what you want out of your manager, agent, whatever. And so then finally I just got to the point where I personally, as his friend, did not like what they were doing. And so without being like rude about it, I was just like, if you ever want, like, I don't usually help a ton of people like get new reps or whatever, but I said, I feel like you just need a little bit of help of understanding who to, because you're so far removed from the American market that you just don't even know where to start. And now that you picked one bad one off the go, now you're even more hesitant to like make that move again. So I was like, let me help you.
Probably questioning everything. Like, what happened? Did he leave that agent?
He did. So I set him up, and actually I will tell you, and we'll bleep it out, but he signed with I set him up with and so I was like, this, and it's like love at first sight. I was like so happy with myself, and I actually used you and Rory as an example because I was like, he does so much for them. Like, even when I was just trying to help Rory out, he got involved and like was super helpful. And I was like, and I was even casting the project. I was just trying to help. And so now it's like,
I love that man. He honestly, I couldn't speak more highly of him. And bearing in mind, like, he's not even my manager, and yet I still feel like he looks out. He's my partner's manager, but he's like such a good guy that like I feel like he looks out for me as much as he does for Rory. Like,
I'm sure he would. Yeah. And then the other funny story is like, so last week I was having a Zoom with somebody who I'm looking to maybe co-produce with. We'll see, whatnot. But it's weird because it's like an actor kind of turned producer a little bit. And at one point I was always like, I'm very cautious of what I say until I actually know you, because once I get on a roll, I can go off on somebody. And so anyway, I was like hedging my bets because I was like, oh, maybe he's like a agent or an actor who loves his agent or something like that. And finally, at one point, there was one comment made where I was like, ooh, I think I have an in, because I was like, I just like to produce movies with actors by going around their agents these days. Like, I don't see how you can make movies dealing with agents at any of the big three anymore, anything, especially for like small budget indies. And he looks at me, he's like, I fucking hate agents. And I was like, yes.
Just for any of my agents listening, I love you all so much. I think you're amazing.
No, and to be fair, we're talking about like, like massive, the Brad Pitts of the world that you're trying to attach to your 2 million indie or whatever. It's just like, You know,
Yeah.
they just have gotten so difficult to deal with and a bit unrealistic. And we've talked about that in a couple of the past episodes when we've been going through some irritating issues. But it's like, because they're also great. I mean, Jess and I are both repped at big agencies and we love our agents. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that we're not trying to dog all agents, but like
Yeah.
there has been a very distinct shift recently of this like just being a lot more difficult in terms of even like I have a girl who's attached to my film right now and wants to do it. And she keeps texting us being like, what's going on with it? And I'm like, and how do we say it's your agent? He won't respond to us. Like
Yeah,
we've been checking in with him for the past 3 days. What do you want from
yeah.
me? Like, but I don't want to like
It's
dash
well,
her
because
hopes
it's
and
such
dreams.
a no, it's such a like difficult dynamic because as actors, like again, because I suppose I'm someone that is quite like I'm a doer, you know, like I really like to get shit
Yeah.
done, and I really struggled at the beginning of my career because it was very difficult for me to give up control essentially to an agent and be like, well, you guide it. I'd much rather be doing this myself, guys. I really think I could, you know, put my mind to it and I'd figure it out. And it was really hard for me to be like, no, trust that like this is their job and that's what they do. And so I've always like, you know, at the beginning of my career, I was one of those actors that would constantly be emailing my agent, being like, "Have you heard about this? Have you heard about that?" And then after a while, I was like, "I've got to take my foot off the brake pedal here a bit and just like again, I control everything that I can control within me, but not
Yeah.
worry about that outside bit." But then Jen tells me stories like this, and I go, "Oh God, I need to start hassling at my emails again." You know?
Yeah, I think it's interesting though, because and I think it's also there's a very big cultural difference between UK and US reps. And again, this is a generalization just because I feel like like, I mean, Jen left because the industry felt very toxic here. And I
Yeah,
think there's more of that happening here. Like people are not particularly respectful in process. Um, but I think, you know, we've talked about it a number of times over the episodes of just like there's got to be some change in this industry that like brings the humanity back because the further away we get from it, for at least in the States, it's like it is the thing of like, oh, that rep is so difficult to deal with. That lawyer is so difficult to deal with. They don't want it, like we don't want to deal with them, so we're just going to avoid it by all costs or whatever, you know, whatever that looks like. But I
yeah,
think, but there are the same ones that, like, you know, we've grown up with in the industry in the last 15 years, and we love them to pieces, and we know that they respect us, and we can communicate. It's just, I think that is becoming a little fewer and far between, unfortunately. So I think it's just about, you know, finding kindness in this business again somehow.
yeah. Well, we
Maybe.
also we have to because we're like I don't know what's going to happen with AI, but the only
Yeah.
thing that's going to save us from AI is humanity and like individualization and us like being able to talk to each other and create, you know, 2 + 2 = 5 when you're all
Yeah.
kind of working together or one work, you know what I mean? But yeah, like it's more than ever. I'm like, guys, this is the time to be holding on to
Yeah.
each other, not shutting it down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. On that note, yeah, I just want to like tell us about your interests outside of acting. What you were
Yeah.
talking earlier about, like how you like to take whenever you're not working or or if you have a self-imposed not working time, like what are your joys outside of the industry?
Yeah, so that I think actually is that's my best tip for like handling the acting industry is to fall in love with your life away from acting as much as you love acting. So what do I do? That's so great. Let me tell you.
I'm just waiting for you to be like, I watch TV.
Yeah. No. So I mean, well, because the thing is that truthfully, when I'm not working, I try to live very simply. Like I like to not spend as little as I possibly can, so that I know that I'm kind of respecting the fact that I'm not working. And so mostly what I do is like my boyfriend and I sing in the kitchen and we write songs and I write for myself. Like I don't write for any kind of public forum, but I try and find ways to express myself artistically outside of self tapes. So even actually, like even with acting, like I will, you know, I'm obsessed with Meisner, so I will, you know, we'll have like little It's so sad. I'm such a sad person. I'm like little mice
No,
and
you're
parties
not.
and like
Stop that.
all of that.
No.
But just ways. I really try and find ways to artistically fulfill myself as much as I possibly can, and it's magical. Like to getting to do art as a hobby is, like Rory and I will just spend like hours and hours singing in my kitchen, and I never thought I can sing. I don't think I can really sing, and yet the time that I'm not working, I get to just sit and sing. That's a beautiful, beautiful life. So yeah, that's mostly. And I bake and I cook a lot. What else do I do? I think that's it.
I love to bake. I'm a baker like you, just for
Yeah.
funsies. Yeah.
Mine's pretty few. I'm like no shade on your baking, which I'm sure is excellent. But yeah, I'm really my bake. I do it. I have just thrown shade, so I'm really sorry. I'm gonna stop.
You think your baking's good, but you haven't seen mine yet.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, I really am pretty good at
What's
baking.
your favorite thing to bake?
Look, that's tricky because if I were going to my favorite thing, I would go for like a carrot cake is kind of my favorite thing to eat. But I make brownies that I really actually do think are famously good. They are everyone. I know I'm going to sound like I'm bragging too much, but they're really, really, really good brownies. But I don't know.
In my head, it's my birthday next month, and I'm like, how can I get Charlotte to bake these for my birthday?
Easily. Oh, I will easily. No.
Done.
I make these brownies about once a month, and I take them into my agent, and I go like, please like me, please like me. It's effectively what I've done. I do it on every job. I'm so terrified that people won't like me that I just bake and I bring baked goods in to whatever workplace. Sometimes during an audition, which let me tell you, it looks really try hard and hasn't resulted in me booking any of the jobs.
Oh, dang, I love that.
Trying.
Back in the days of in person, I love that. Whenever we got treats or whatnot, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I think it's great but sad for me.
I think it's nicer as a thank you versus
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm auditioning today.
I know. Yeah, I've done it and it wasn't cool.
I loved every month I would do, like when I was in an office, because now I won't do it, but I would do like a themed dessert that I would bring in for my cohorts to eat.
Okay.
Because I was experimenting, because I've never, like, nobody else in my family bakes, like no one ever taught me anything, and so I would just go and like try different things, and I love decorating. And so for me, it's like a super cathartic experience because you have to be in the zone to the detail of things. And so I loved it so much. But I love my like signature thing for the holidays has been pumpkin cheesecakes. And so that's it takes a long time because it's like it has to cook twice essentially and then stick in the fridge for 8 hours. So yeah.
Okay, I see that you're a very serious baker, and I take back any shade that I tried to throw. I'm very sorry. But yeah, that's embarrassing for me. No, I agree. No, sometimes I'm exactly the same. I'm such a person that I'm constantly overthinking everything and worrying about everything, that for me the baking just gets me out of my head. It's like something practical that I can do. But I actually would no, I was gonna say, I actually weirdly, my sister is really good at decorating and I'm really good at taste. My things usually look terrible and hers taste terrible. So we like
with your powers combined.
Yeah, it's powerful. Very powerful.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's just an experiment every time, I think, and I think it's also
it's just a comfort thing.
The idea, I think with our jobs, yours and ours, this idea that like, we are constantly trying to, whether we're sending out emails of like, remember us, hire us, or, you're going into audition or whatever it is, there's no tangible thing of like a completionist, right? If you're going in to try to get a job and you don't know if you get it or not, same thing for us. So for me, it's like, I don't know what actually gives me forward motion. So in this thing, like you have all these ingredients and then you see the final product. And Jen knows this about me. It's a very strange thing, but I love assembling furniture for the very same reason.
No, I completely agree.
You have something tangible that you're like, I did that.
Which is actually, though, on a tangential note, kind of what I actually like about self-tape. I know that people throw a lot of shade on self-tape, but I really like the fact that you're a part of that creative process, that you start with nothing. We come up here, and the thing I really like about self-tapes is that you effectively get to create a scene. You know, you're not just doing it with a reader. You get a lot more kind of some kind of creative malleability. You start with nothing, and we create this scene between the two of us, or sometimes three of us, and then I get to edit it, and at the end I'm like, oh, I made that thing. Like, even if it doesn't go anywhere and no one else watches it, like I still effectively have made a short film of kinds. You know, and I'm proud of that. Like,
no, definitely. It's like, it's finding it where you can get it. That's what it is.
It's all mindset. You just have to like kid yourself in some capacity that what you're doing is worthwhile.
I wish I could bake, guys. You guys sound so happy when you talk about it. I'm like, oh, this sounds miserable. I can't bake worth the life of me.
Jen, when you come here, we're gonna make something together.
No, don't make me. I'll ruin it, and then you'll finally understand how poor I am at this job.
I don't think you can. No, you can't ruin it. You really can't.
You know how many people have told me that, Charlotte, and we have had problems.
Let me ask you this. Do you do it with supervision, or do you do it solo?
I've tried both ways.
We're gonna try with supervised.
Do you drink whilst you bake?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that might be
Well, it takes so long. What are you supposed to do while you're just waiting?
I baked all of the cakes for my sister's wedding. It was one of those things that I agreed to do because I thought it would be like cute.
Oh my gosh.
That's too much pressure.
Yeah, it was really scary. It was really scary, but I essentially just made all of like her favorite treats, and it was actually really nice. It was 2 days. It was just me in the kitchen being like.
I love it because you both, and I've seen Jess when she's under the gun to get one of her nephew's cakes made. It's like so stressful, and this is like your guys like, this is our relaxing time.
Yeah, like, no, but it is relaxing. Yeah. It's just a different type of stress.
Yeah, because it's also
the worst
different.
Thing that goes wrong is. Sorry.
I was just saying, it's just different because like if you are, I'm not a trained baker by any means. I've had 0 classes, but like I'm a perfectionist, but I don't have the skill to be a perfectionist. So that's the part that like spins me out a little bit, but like the baking itself is lovely.
Yeah. And also if it goes wrong, it's cake, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. I made it for my nephew's birthday 2 years ago. So we have a little tradition that every year they tell me what kind of themed cake they want. And so I just do the best at whatever that is. So he wanted something super simple, and he wanted like a super rich like chocolate caramel cake. And the first one, it was like, I don't know what I did wrong, but like I put the caramel in it. I made the caramel, and so I put it in it, and then the cake just started sloping down.
Oh no.
It was a total hot mess. And then I started from scratch. I made it again, and it was beautiful the second time.
Was the caramel cooked too much?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what happened. I thought maybe it was still too hot, but it wasn't because it was sitting out forever. Like not forever, but to cool properly. Yeah. Anyways, it was a disaster. I'll show a picture. I'll send a picture to Jen. She'll send it to you. It was really bad.
Yeah. But wait, what happened with the Minecraft cake? Wasn't that this month's?
Well, yes, it's at the end of the month, and depending.
So you haven't done it yet.
Well, depending on our plans, it may not happen.
Yes. Oh no.
What plans do you have?
Well, we don't know yet, but like his birthday is on the 31st.
Shoot. So
I may miss it.
Yeah, the short of it is, I'm selling my house back in the States. And so Jess so kindly offered to fly to Nashville and help drive all my stuff back to my parents' house in Denver and do like a Tipsy Casting road trip where we might stop along the way and have some Tipsy Casting events here and there. But I didn't realize it was going over because it was supposed to happen a month ago now.
Yeah.
And my closing just keeps getting pushed back. And so I didn't realize, now I feel guilty. You don't have to come.
Listen, when we were talking the last time and trying to put our plans together, potential plans, I didn't even realize it until something else was happening, and I looked at my calendar and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss his birthday. But we'll see. I'm trying to negotiate with my sister so that we can celebrate on the 4th, and I'll
Got
do
it.
the cake when we're back, but we'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
TBD.
Decisions.
So jealous of a road trip. That'd be so fun.
I
I've never been
know.
on one.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, that will be magical. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
in our U-Haul truck.
So cool. Especially across America. I've never done it across America. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, well, we're coming up on our hour, so we're gonna ask you our very special question, although it's gonna be altered a little bit for you since you don't really drink. But if the world was ending tomorrow and you had to have maybe like a cake or something to cheers the end of the
Yeah.
world to, or what's your favorite food or something, dessert?
The best cake that I have eaten is from a cake shop called Conditor and Cook, and it's called the Curly Wurly Cake. I tried it once when I would say probably like 19 when I first came to London. My boyfriend at the time got me this cake, and I have been literally obsessed with it for the however long that's been. I've now been, was like 14 years ago. I'm still eating this cake. I make it myself, but it's never as good as the version that you can buy from the shop, which I think must be because they've made the recipes slightly different, which I respect as a like, I'm like, that's fine. I really, really respect you for that.
Is
I
this
can't remember
it?
his name is. Exactly that one. Yeah. So it's a spectacular cake. It's like it's a rich kind of moist chocolate sponge, almost like a brownie, and then a cream cheese vanilla frosting, and then a chocolate swirl, and then I add an extra chocolate swirl because I like the texture of frozen chocolate. So that's what I would go for.
I love it. You had that ready to go too. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, so I really love that cake. I actually made a version. I've just made a version downstairs because I couldn't be bothered to do the trek to Waterloo. So I have made my own version for this evening, but it isn't as good, but it's still really good.
That's such a treat.
Amazing. Yum. Awesome.
It is.
Awesome.
Although my dinner guest arrived and said she couldn't eat anything, and I was like, no, I've just made this huge meal.
Oh no!
I've got like 6 cupcakes that I will be eating on my own.
Worse things have happened, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I thought you were going to say what yours were.
Oh.
No.
Oh, our favorite cakes. We've never done favorite cakes, actually. What is yours, Jess?
It's the end of the world. What cake are you eating?
Something very similar. I made it's like actually that's a lie. I love I don't know if you've been to Porto's here. Have you been? No. So it's like a Cuban restaurant in Los Angeles. There's a few locations now, but they have this cake called the Parisian cake, and I think it's similar in the sense that it's not a dense chocolate cake. It's very light and fluffy, and even the frosting is really light and fluffy. It's a buttercream-ish, but it's so delicious. I've had it for my birthday every year since I turned, so for 10 years. Yeah, since 26. Yeah. It's amazing. It's delicious.
Wow.
We'll get you a slice, Jen.
I'm bad because I'm not a huge sweets person.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. Like,
I know.
Your body will really thank you for it. It's like not a cool vibe.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like I always hate when I walk into somebody's house and there's an entire cake, because then I'm like, oh my, like it happened at my friend's birthday last week, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go, and then I immediately get handed this like 5-tier cake, and I was like, I'll eat like 3 bites of it, and then I get like kind of sick off of it. And so, but I will say the one cake I really like that I usually go to if like my mom asks me for my birthday or something, I usually just get a cupcake if I can talk her into it, is red velvet. I do love a good red velvet with cream cheesecake.
So actually, I know we should really stop talking about cake because no one's interested in cake. But have you ever tried frozen cake?
No.
Okay, so
like
it's really
ice cream cake, I would be down for that.
No. You just take your chosen piece of cake and then you put it in the freezer, and basically what happens is it goes almost into this kind of like icing, ice creamy thing. Essentially it takes the sweetness down, because sometimes even for me when I'm eating even that curly wurly cake that is so amazing, I hope I get sponsored after this podcast from that curly wurly cake. I'm like I really have done real wonders. No, it doesn't need me. That cake is moving. Anyway, sorry. even that cake sometimes for me can be a bit sweet. And so if I put it in the freezer, I guess the freezing takes down the sweetness, and the texture there's nothing sickly about it. It's just all of the wonder of cake without any of the sickliness. I would really recommend it.
Interesting. I will try that next time, because this one I just had a weekend. I think it was just a weekend ago. It was cherry, and I with a very thick frosty, and I was like, oh my, I think I'm gonna puke. I tried to hide it, so that they wouldn't be offended that I didn't eat it. It was so much.
No, honestly, I eat all cake frozen. It's really mind blowing.
I love that. I'm gonna try that. Very interesting.
No, honestly, please let me know. I'm not lying. It will really change your life.
I will. Amazing. Well, this has been very lovely. It's nice to finally meet you. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you so much for having me.
We gotta do cheers, ladies.
Yes. With your empty glass and
my empty
drink.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's horrible.
We're gonna post that.
Please do. Amazing.
If you love listening as much as we love sharing, click subscribe on our YouTube channel or find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening.